I think we are live now. Yes, we are live now. Indeed, a good evening to one and all. I, CA Pratik, welcome all of you to Zest Learning. How are you all doing? I hope you all are doing fantastically well. So friends, in this session of CA Final Indirect Taxes, our discussion is going to continue on topic of input tax credit. So have you understood all the points that we discussed till this? So we have done section 16, section 17, subsection 5 and section 49.5. 49.5, that is your utilization of input tax credit to pay output tax. So if all these things are clear to you and yesterday's questions that we discussed are clear to you, can we go to 17.1, 17.2 and the rules connected to that? That is apportionment of input tax credit. Yes. So first of all, let's start with what is the concept of apportionment. Okay, apportionment means what? You must have done this in costing also. If you know Ashima and Mahalakshmi and their two friends go to hotel, so four of them go to hotel and the bill is say 2000 rupees, so they can divide the bill within them. That is called as apportionment. Dividing bill within four of them is apportionment. Suppose it is divided equally, then it is apportionment, okay, in equal proportion. Getting it? So is it necessary that division should be in equal proportion? Not necessary. It could be in some decided ratio also. Okay, suppose one of them had a full 4-course meal, one of them had only 3-course meal, assume, and one of them had only coffee. So suppose they decide that let us technically they decide that let us apportion in the ratio of 4:3:2:1. So that is also apportionment. Is it clear to both of you and all students watching the recordings? Is it absolutely clear? Now shall we understand what is the relevance of apportionment in input tax credit? So apportionment concept we know in costing also. Now tell us what it is in ITC. So yes, Ashima ji, Mahalakshmi ji, are you there? Yes, absolutely. So listen carefully now. Suppose I am running a bakery. So this is to tell you an example of section 17 subsection 1. Okay. In this bakery, say for the month of February 2025, I buy raw materials. Okay, these raw materials are for 1 lakh rupees. These raw material are for 1 lakh rupees. On this, there is a GST of 18%, say 18,000 rupees. So 1,18,000 in total I have paid. But I know I have used 20% of the finished goods for personal use. Okay, and 80% for business use. Means 80% of the finished goods I have sold, but 20% I have used for personal use. So what do you think? Will I get ITC of complete 18,000? Of course, no, because out of that 18,000, 20% okay of ITC is attributable for making such finished goods which are for personal use. So what is 18,000 into 20%? So to the extent of 3600 ITC will be not allowed. Do you agree with me? Just confirm. Have you understood this? And of course, to the extent of 80%, ITC will be allowed. That is 14,400. ITC will be allowed. Is it clear to you? Yes, absolutely. So this is your 17.1. So what does 17.1 say? 17.1 states that where inputs are used commonly for both for both business use as well as personal use, as well as what personal use, ITC shall be shall be allowed. ITC shall be allowed only to the extent only to the extent used for business use. Is it absolutely clear to all of you? Where inputs are used commonly for both business use as well as personal use, ITC shall be allowed only to the extent inputs used for business use. Okay, wonderful. So, this is very basic. We are going to use this fundamental and fundamentals of 17.2 and various rules we are going to apply in about 3 questions today. Very critical questions. Okay, so may I go to 17.2 now? What is 17.2? Again, I would like to start with an example. Tax learning should be always full of examples. Then only it makes sense, isn't it? So you are suppose manufacturer of plastic items. You're manufacturer of plastic items. What you do is you buy raw material. You buy raw material, okay, which is say plastic granules. Raw material you have bought is worth 10 lakh rupees. Suppose this is information for the month of Feb 2025. Using that raw material, you have manufactured finished goods. What is your finished goods? Your finished goods are say utensils, plastic utensils, which you have sold within India. Okay. Further, there are plastic utensils which you have exported. And finally, you have some plastic bangles. Yes, you have some plastic bangles. So for your information, suppose plastic utensils are chargeable to tax at 12%. So these are called as taxable goods. But utensils which are exported, anything that you export, you have knowledge, it becomes zero rated. Now since they are exported, they are called as zero rated. Did you get the point? Did you understand? And plastic bangles, let me tell you, are exempted. You are not expected to know this. but plastic bangles are exempted. Now on this raw material of 10 lakh rupees, you have paid GST of 1 lakh 80,000. Are you expected to get ITC of full 1 lakh 80,000? My question is, will you get ITC of complete 1 lakh 80,000? Of course, no. Because now the raw material is being used to manufacture such finished goods which are A, taxable, B, zero rated, and C, exempted. Did you understand? So ITC will be not available for that which is used in exempted. Okay, see, on the taxable finished goods, on the taxable utensils, you are going to charge output tax. So you should be able to claim ITC on that. So on A part, you will be able to claim ITC. And in case of exports, government wants to give you benefit. Government wants to give you benefit of availing ITC on the purchases that you are doing for sake of exports, so that your purchases become GST free. So it's a, you can say, incentive given for exporters. Getting it? So in case of A plus B, you can avail ITC. In case of C, ITC cannot be availed. Suppose your sale of taxable goods within India is 70%. Your exports of utensils are 10% and your exempt supply is 20%. This is of turnover I am telling. So A plus B, that is to the extent of 80%, you will be able to claim ITC. Did you understand? And to the extent of this 20%, ITC will not be allowed. Are you getting it? So 1,44,000 worth of ITC will be available and balance will not be available. Does it make sense? Suppose I was using raw material. I was using raw material totally for manufacturing such finished goods which were exempted. Would I have got ITC? Would I have got ITC? Of course, no. So that's what is happening. To the extent I am using an exempt supply, ITC is not allowed. But ITC is allowed when I am using for such finished goods which are taxable, including zero rated. So once you have done this and understood this, say D in the chat window. I will tell you the provision formally and then we will go ahead to the corresponding rules. Yes, Ashima is saying done. What about you, Mahalakshmi ji? So can you write where inputs means both in goods, services, capital goods. So where inputs are used commonly for making outward supplies, which are taxable, including, now I'm going to call taxable, I'm going to call zero rated supply also taxable. So where inputs are used commonly for making outward supplies which are taxable, including zero rated supplies as well as exempted supplies, then input tax credit shall be allowed only to the extent used in taxable supplies, including what? Including zero rated supplies. Did you understand the logic and the provision of both 17.1 and 17.2? Just confirm so that we can go ahead to question based on these rules. Why we should go to questions based on these rules directly without understanding the rules? Via the questions itself, we'll be in the position to understand the rule. Getting it? Yes. So Ashima is saying understood. What about you, Mahalakshmi ji? And what about other students? So two amazing questions we are going to see. I'm 100% sure you will understand it. Are you ready? I have uploaded this in the drive. You can check afterwards. Shall we start? Go to the second question. Initially, go to the second question. Okay, see this now. PQR Limited, a registered supplier, supplies taxable as well as exempted goods. Is it clear? So there is a supplier supplying both taxable as well as exempted goods. Any doubt in this? There is a supplier. This supplier is supplying both taxable as well as exempted goods. You agree with me? The information regarding exempted goods supplied by it during month of August 23 is not available. What is not available? information of exempted goods. These exempted goods includes goods taxed at nil rate worth 9 lakh. Besides this, turnover of supply of goods during month of August includes. So what I understand is August's details are not available properly of outward supplies. Now details of ITC are given for the month of August 23. Okay, think logically. Total ITC available for the month is 1,80,000 of CGST, 1,80,000 of SGST and 2,16,000 of IGST. But above input tax on input and input services includes the following. Now you will tell me, in this A point, will ITC be available? Credit on input goods exclusively used means used only for supplying exempted goods. Will ITC be available in this case? On this 45,000, if we just right now understand all the things from perspective of CGST, very good, it will not be available because it is used exclusively, that is only for supplying exempted goods. So if I tell you that for plastic bangles, apart from plastic, one more raw material is needed, will you take ITC on that raw material which is used only for bangles? Of course no. So not available. What will happen for credit on input services exclusively used for supplying taxable goods including zero rated supplies? So of course on this ITC will be available to the extent of 100%. Do you agree with me that ITC will be available to the extent of 100%? Absolutely no problem. Yes. Credit availed on inputs which are ineligible under 17.5. So what will happen with this credit availed on the inputs which are ineligible under 17.5? ITC is not at all available. It is blocked, isn't it? And lastly, credit on inputs exclusively used for supplying goods for personal use. Will ITC be allowed? It will not be allowed. It is used exclusively for personal use. Did you understand till this point? Very good. I can see all of you giving fantastic answers. Can you do one thing? Where is the calci? Yes, got the calci. I hope you all are also sitting with calculators. On your calci, take 1,80,000 total ITC available. From 180, you minus 45. Why you are subtracting 45? You are subtracting 45,000 because on that ITC is not at all available. Also subtract 42,000. Also subtract 22,500. Because on these things ITC is not at all available. So can you tell me that what figure you have got? So have you got figure of 70,500 after subtracting the three items on which ITC is not at all available? If you have got that figure, then minus 63,000. Sir, why we should minus 63,000? We should minus 63,000 because on that ITC is available to the extent of 100%. I am going towards finding common credit, common inputs which are used in taxable supply, exempted supply, as well as personal use. I am trying to find that. So I am subtracting 63,000. Am I getting 7,500? What is, friends, 7,500? Do you agree that 7,500 is your common, inputs on input tax credit on common inputs? Yes. Now, do you agree that out of 7,500, there are three branches? What three branches? The one which is used for exempted only, the one which is used for personal, and the one which is used for taxable. So exempted branch and personal, exempted and personal will not be allowed. Do you agree with me? So what if I tell you that for personal it is always 5% of common credit that is disallowed? It is given in the rule. So government has done some scientific and calculations, and they have come up with 5%. So can you do 7,500 into 5%? So this 375 will be disallowed. Are you getting the point? Yes or no? And for this exempted part, you have to use the proportion. Can I go to proportion? First of all, have you got it 5%? It's given in the rule. Rule 42 we are using here. It is given in that rule that not allowed will be 5%. Tell me once you get till this point, then we will go ahead. Yes, wonderful. For exempted part, what to do now? We have to go as per proportion. But if you observe, they are telling you that information is not available for the month of August. It's given here. Information regarding exempted goods supplied by during month of August is not available. So you have to search for latest preceding month. So which is the preceding month? It is the month of July. And for July, you have the turnover of taxable goods which is 65 lakhs and exempted goods which is 10 lakhs. So if I tell you that 7,500 was used for making total supply of 75 lakhs, so 10 lakh in that was of exempted. So how much will be blocked or not allowed? So can you do 7,500 into 10 divided by 75? So do you agree that 1000 will be not allowed? So do you agree total 1375 will be not allowed? Just confirm to me, both of you, have you got it? In short, what we have done common credit multiplied by turnover of exempted supply divided by total turnover. Mahalakshmi, did you get it? I cannot see you replying. Okay, wonderful. So do one thing, take on your calci 7500 minus 1375 because that will not be allowed. So if you do 7500 minus 1375, can you tell me how much is allowed? Are you getting 6125 as allowed? And don't forget, yes, Mahalakshmi ji, yes. For personal, it is always 5% as per the rule. Yes, so can you do one thing? 6125 plus 63,000, that will be total allowed, because that 63,000 is allowed to the extent of 100%. So are you getting 69,125? Yes, Mahalakshmi ji. For exempted, it was on proportional basis. I think that you are confirming with me in the chat window. So 69,125 will be ITC allowed of CGST and SGST each, because the figures are same. Did you understand? Tell me, because rule number 42 is done with this. I'll be happy to know whether you have understood this. Because now we have to go for systematic presentation of this. Waiting for your replies in the chat window. Yes, Ashima is saying understood. What about all other students in the recorded batch? Did you get it? And Mahalakshmi ji? Okay, if this is done, can we go ahead and do systematic presentation of this? Because lot of terminologies I want you to understand. Okay, so give the heading question 2 from ITC rules questions PDF. Okay, please go ahead. Write down computation of input tax credit eligible computation of input tax credit eligible for the tax period August, I think 2023, isn't it? So you will do particulars CGST, SGST, IGST, particulars CGST, SGST, IGST, and all figures in rupees. Let us start. Total input tax in tax period. So please understand, total ITC in tax period. in tax period. It is called as T. What it is called as? T. These notations are important. It is 1,80,000 for CGST, 1,80,000 for SGST, for IGST 2,16,000. Okay, then going ahead, less. See, I also told you to less all the things step by step. So we are doing the step of less. What we should less? Tax on inputs. Tax on inputs exclusively used, exclusively means only used for effecting supply of personal use, for effecting supply of personal use. Did you understand this? This is called as T1. So what is your T1 in the example? Your T1 in the example is this: 22,500, 22,500 and 60,000. Please put it in bracket. 22,500, 22,500 and 60,000. Did you understand? First you are subtracting that of personal use. Next, tax on inputs exclusively used for effecting exempt supply. Tax on inputs, tax on inputs exclusively used for effecting exempt supply. Okay, so friends, that is your T2. So what is your T2? T2 check exclusively used for doing exempt supply. It is 45,000, 45,000 and 72,000. So please take 45,000, 45,000 and 72,000. Now my dear friends, what are you going to get? Rather, what are you going to take next one is tax on inputs on which ITC is blocked. Tax on inputs on which ITC is blocked as per section 17(5). So what is that in my example? That is 42,000, 42,000 and 48,000. Please take 42,000, 42,000 and 48,000. At this point, when you, of course, this is called as T3. So from T, you should minus T1, T2, T3. You will get input tax credited to e-credit ledger. So can you tell me what is input tax credited to e-credit ledger, that, as I told you, will be called as C1, and friends, that C1 will be equal to T minus T1 plus T2 plus T3. So may I know what is C1 here? So as we had computed, it is 70,500, 70,500 and 36,000. Are you all getting these figures? Once you get these figures, say D in the chat window. I hope you all have started doing this. You can do wherever you want. Absolutely no problem. You can take that call. Yes, Ashima is saying done. What about Mahalakshmi ji? Simple till this point. 70,500, 70,500 and 36,000. So T is total ITC. T1 is 100% for personal use. T2 is for exempt supply. T3 is blocked credit. And now you got ITC that is credited to e-credit ledger. So far, so good. Let's go ahead. Remember the notations properly. Less. Now you come to less. Credit on inputs exclusively used for supplying ITC on inputs exclusively used for supplying taxable goods. Okay. Including zero rated supplies. Including zero rated supplies. So friends, it is called as T4. And all of you know what is T4 in our example. T4 in our example is 63,000, 63,000, 23,400. Isn't it? So please minus that 63,000, 63,000 and 23,400. So now can you tell me what you will get? Now you will get, when you minus that, you are going to get common credit of input used for providing. Now you are going to get common credit of inputs used for providing supplies, various supplies. So isn't it 7,500, 7,500 and 12,600? Just check whether it is 12,600. So I hope you are keeping track of figures of IGST. We had not done it on the Calci beforehand, but I hope you are keeping track of that. So now you know that it is a common credit. Let's call common credit as C2. And that C2 is nothing but C1 minus T4. It is C1 minus T4. Now what you will do, total credit not admissible. You have to go for total credit not admissible. So total credit not admissible, of course you will get by way of working note. So total credit not admissible as per rule 42, as per rule 42, which is D1 plus D2. It is D1 plus D2 for which we are going to do working note. Already you know that it is 1375. Already you know now. It is 1375 for this and 1375 for this. You don't know for IGST, so leave it blank. Then you will get net eligible common credit. Can you find out net eligible common credit? Now net eligible common credit is equal to, you know, your 63,000. So net eligible common credit will be equal to C3, and that C3 will be equal to C2 minus D1 plus D2. Let's check what is your C2. Your C2 is 7,500. So 7,500 minus 1375. So are you getting 6125 each? If you are getting 6125 each, now get total credit eligible. So do you agree that total credit eligible is your T4 plus C3? T4 is your 63,000. So 63,000 plus 6125, 69,125 each. Do you agree with me? So in short, amount to be reversed. Amount to be reversed. You had taken a ITC in the e-credit ledger of 70,500, na? So from 70,500, how much you should reverse? D1 plus D2, that is 1375. Did you all understand? You can check 70,500 minus 1375. You will get 69,125 as the answer. It's one and the same. You can do it like this or like this. You will get same answer. Have you all got it till this point? Once you get till this point, say D in the chat window so that I can go for working note of D1, D2, and we can also find out IGST part. Yes. Ashima is saying done. What about Mahalakshmi ji? Okay. Are you comfortable till this point? Fine. If yes, let us go ahead. So write down working note. Okay. Working note will be computation of amount of input tax credit, computation of amount of input tax credit means ITC towards exempt supply, towards exempt supply and supply made for non-business use, and supply made for means personal use, non-business use. Okay, so now what you will do, you will do particulars CGST, SGST, IGST. Have you done particulars CGST, SGST, IGST? Without fail, write figures in rupees. So first of all, start with aggregate value of exempted supply of goods. May I know what is aggregate value of exempted supply of goods? So please remember, in this case, we are not taking for the month of August because we don't have that turnover. So we are taking for the month of July. That figure is called as E. Call that figure as E. It will be 10 lakh. So actually nothing is relevant writing it in CS and IGST column, only because we are going to use the proportions of that for all three, CS and I have put it in all the three columns. Now total turnover for July, we are going to call it as F. You know it is 75 lakhs. 65 plus 10, you know it is 75 lakhs. Now what you will do? Credit attributable towards exempt supplies. Credit attributable towards exempt supplies. All of you know it is called as D1, and D1 is equal to C2 multiplied by E by F. C2 was your common credit. So for example, your common credit was 7,500 multiplied by E, that is 10 lakh, upon F, which is 75 lakhs. So you are going to get 1000 rupees, as you all know, 1000 rupees. And please calculate for IGST also. For IGST, the figure is going to be 1680. How did you get 1680? Because your common credit was 12,600. So can you do, friends, 12,600 into 10 by 75? Are you getting 1680? Check. I checked it. You got it, 1680. Now go for credit means ITC attributable for supplies made for non-business purpose. Credit attributable for supplies made for non-business use. So isn't it, friends, D2, and D2 is equal to 5% of common credit. So D2 is equal to 5% of common credit. So what it is in this case? It is 375, 375 and do 12,600 into 5%, you will get it as 630. So eventually, are you getting total credit not admissible? So what is total credit which is not admissible? That is your D1 plus D2. So isn't it 1375, 1375 and 1680 plus 630, 2310. Are you all getting it, friends? Have you all understood till this point? Acha, Ashima ji, can we just wait before we make any conclusions? You have asked one question that, sir, whether this type of question is asked in the exam. Now, literally, what I feel very honestly from the bottom of my heart is we should avoid such questions in the final level. Do you agree with me? Whenever faculty feels that particular question is important from exam perspective, he will tell you, isn't it? Anything and everything could become important at final level. So when I do TYK question, I will tell you it is a TYK question. When I do past year paper question, I'll tell you it is a past year paper question. So please refrain from asking such questions, would be my suggestion, normal suggestion. May be asked. And I'll immediately show you TYK question where you will have to identify yourself what is exempt, what is taxable. I'll show you. But let us enjoy the process, friends. Let us enjoy the process. That's what I will tell you. Shall we go ahead? Isn't it 2310 here? Yes, it is 2310 here. So can you tell me? It is 10,290. Did you get it? It is. Isn't it? So is net eligible common credit 10,290, and what is total credit eligible? So total credit eligible will be your common credit, which was 23,400 plus this. So are you getting 33,690? So eventually, are you getting these figures? So have you understood till this point? Write one note. I would suggest you to write one note where the registered person, where the registered person does not have any turnover information during the tax period under consideration during the tax period under consideration. Like, see, in this case we did not have any information for the month of August, comma, the value of E upon F, that E turnover of exempted supply and F total turnover, shall be calculated by taking values of E and F, by taking values of E and F of last tax period for which details of such turnover are available. For which details of such turnover are available. Okay, full stop. For which details of such turnover are available, comma, previous to the month during which said values value of E upon F is to be calculated. Full stop. Continue. Hence, in given case, we have taken the values of exempted turnover. We have taken values of exempted turnover and total turnover for the month of July. As the values were not available, for August, for which we are doing the computation of eligible ITC. Did you all understand, friends? Shall we go ahead? So please show F point. Means what you want exactly? This turnovers you want? So Ashima, have you understood? Mahalakshmi ji, have you understood? And if you want me to show any point or explain any point, let me know. And I would also like to know from you, Ashima, what made you ask that whether such questions are asked in the exams? Because till date I couldn't find you asking me such questions. Yes, Mahalakshmi is saying done. What about you, Ashima? And what about all my other recorded batch students? Are you getting it? So friends, if this is done, now I want to go for one question from your module, which is in the TYK. That is your question number 18. So can I go to question number 18 based on this? Which we will now solve in detail. Okay, you just found it lengthy but simple. Acha, that's why you asked. No problem. See, if it is asked na, it will be asked for a lot of marks. So don't take tension of such things. Say it will be asked for 9 marks. So 9 into 1.8, you will get about 16-17 minutes to solve it. And when you solve it yourself, it will happen quickly. Clear? Yes, so I just always now want to know what my students are thinking. So I keep on asking you such questions. Don't mind it. Okay, let's go ahead, guys. So I told you now that doing your ITC section 16, 17, 49.5 is going to open door for many mixed bag questions. So it is just a starting now. Yes, absolutely. What calculation we did was small calculation. The calculation is small, of course, but yes, presentation part has to be like this. Okay, once go through the terminologies of T, T1, T2, T3, T4, C1, C2, D1, D2. Because now when we start with the exam question in the sense TYK question, then that might be needed more. So this we have opened for the solution part. And we have opened one more of your TYK for the questions part, isn't it? It looks like a big provisions in textbook also. Yes, I know it will unnecessarily make you afraid, but you know एक कहावत है हिंदी में, खुदा पहाड़ निकला चूहा. So actually speaking, if you understand underlying concept of the things, those concepts are simple only. Getting it? So nothing big in the concepts. It is just that all concepts put together and cook something. 18th question. Just see the length of 18th question. Welcome to the CA final level. Isn't it? So that's why we are teaching, na? So that something challenging we can tackle. 2 pages question. 2 pages question starts on this page and goes on, ends here. So shall we try to crystallize this? Are you all with me? Last question for today. You know it goes for how much time? Whatever time it goes till. Say this will be surely asked for 14 marks in the exam, if at all it has to be asked. So in exam itself, you can give 26 minutes for this. My simple logic is 1.8 minutes for each mark. That is how I do the calculation, because you get 180 minutes for 100 marks. So 1.8 minutes for each mark is the legal time that you get. So if it's a 14 marks question, you can get about 26 minutes. In exam, today to with explanation, we can take 1 hour also. Okay, chalo. So don't get demotivated if it takes 1 hour. That is with understanding and with reading. Chalo. See, all-in-one store is a retail chain of departmental store having presence in almost all metro cities across India. You know, unnecessary information you have to take from one eye, leave it here and leave it. Clear? In your costing paper, in your FM paper, accounts paper, tax paper, they will give you unwanted information. Keep on neglecting it. So all-in-one store is a retail chain of departmental store having presence in almost all metro cities across India, both exempted as well as taxable goods are sold in such store. Okay, so supplier is selling both exempted as well as taxable goods. The stores operate in rented properties. Okay, all in one store pay GST under regular scheme, means section 9. In Mumbai, the store operates in a rented complex, a part of which is used by owner of the store for personal residential purpose. All-in-one store Mumbai furnishes following details for a month. Aggregate value of various items sold in the store. So can I say this is detail of your outward supplies? Yes sir. This is detail of outward supplies. What will happen with taxable items? Yes, on this there will be GST. So this is taxable. This is exempted and this is not leviable to GST. So friends, exempted and not leviable to GST is one and the same, because exempted is defined in section 2 clause 47 of CGST Act and exempted includes non-taxable. So turnover of exempted is 15 lakhs and turnover of taxable is 42 lakhs. Have you understood? We were wanting this badly. We have got this. With me all of you till this point? So far so good? Yes. Going ahead, Mumbai store transfers to another. See, so much knowledge you have to use in every question. You will just love it when we do big questions. Mumbai store transfers to another all-in-one store located in Goa. So from Mumbai store, we are transferring goods to another branch in Goa. Certain taxable items for the purpose of distributing the same as free samples. Friends, when you are transferring from your office from one entity to another entity in different state, it is transfer or supply of goods to a distinct person, and supply of goods to a distinct person is treated as supply under GST, isn't it? So first of all, Mumbai store is transferring to Goa store. You have to understand it is a supply under GST. If it is a supply under GST, you will have to find out its assessable value. So what is its assessable value is my question. So do you remember you have to go to which rule to find out its assessable value? Which rule you will go to? Do you remember rules? Rule number 28, supply between related persons or supply to related persons or distinct persons. You have to go to rule number 28. 27 was when price is not sole consideration. This is 28. Do you all agree with me? So yes sir, apply 28 in this. When you apply 28, you know that accessible value is open market value. What is open market value in this case? Now the value declared in the invoice in such items is 5 lakhs. Such items are sold in Mumbai store at 8 lakhs. Can I say 8 lakh is the open market value? So can I say 8 lakh is accessible value? Yes. In this case, you may also take, value declared in the invoice. Whatever value is declared here in the invoice, that also may be taken, but provided opposite party, that is this Goa unit, would have been eligible for ITC. But mind you, here Goa unit is not eligible for ITC. Ask me why. Because Goa unit will take these items and they will distribute as free samples. So for Goa unit, ITC is blocked on these goods. So you cannot take 5 lakh as accessible value. Accessible value will be 8 lakhs. In short, in taxable supply, there is a supply of this 8 lakh also. So taxable supply are of 50 lakhs now. Did you understand? Very deep, very deep. If you know 28, then only you can do it. Are you continuously going through your provisions and concepts notebook? In that, are you in connection with rule 28? Rule 28 says that accessible value shall be open market value. If open market value is not available, okay, then value of supply of goods of like kind and quality. But neglect everything. You may take invoice value itself as open market value if the recipient of supply is eligible for ITC. But here recipient of supply, that is Goa unit, is not eligible for ITC because these goods they will not sell. These goods they will give as free samples. And in 17(5)(h), it is said that if you are going to do free sampling of the goods, then ITC of such goods is not allowed. So did you understand how many provisions are involved in one question? That's why so many days we were building our foundation for doing such amazing questions. For the first time, I am getting opportunity of doing such an amazing question. So, isn't your total turnover 15 lakhs plus 50 lakhs? Isn't your total turnover 65 lakhs? Have you all understood till this point? Let me know, friends, is it clear? Aggregate value of various items procured means now comes details of purchases. Can I go to purchases? First, tell me, Mahalakshmi and Ashima, have you understood till this point? Yes, no? Yes, sir. See, you have bought, so aggregate value of various items procured means purchased for being sold in the store. Taxable item 55 lakhs. Items exempted by notification. So see this, you are buying means this detail is given for ITC purpose. Taxable items of 55 lakhs, exempted items of 15 lakhs and items not leviable to GST means these both are exempted. And this is a purchase cost given, not the GST amount. Freight paid to GTA for inward transportation of taxable items. GTA Goods Transport Agency. It is for transportation of taxable items. Wonderful. So here ITC will be available to the extent of 100%. Do you agree? Then Freight paid to GTA for inward transportation of exempted items. So ITC will be not available. And freight paid to GTA for inward transportation of non-taxable items. ITC will be not available. Are you getting these points? Monthly rent payable. So yes, on rent payable also there shall be GST. So on 550 also there shall be GST. But 1/3 of total space available is used for personal residential premises. So 1/3 on 1/3 ITC will not be available, and on 2/3 ITC will be available. Have you got it till this point? Activity of packing the items and putting the label of the store along with sale price has been outsourced. Amount paid for packing of all items is 250. Okay, so of all items means taxable, exempted. So don't you think this is a common credit? Salary paid, on salary paid there is no ITC because there is no GST on salary. GST paid on inputs for personal use. Personal use ITC will be not allowed. GST paid on rent a cab services. You know, hiring of motor vehicles, ITC is blocked. So ITC is blocked on this as per 17(5)(b). GST paid on items given as free samples. You all know ITC is blocked. In short, Ashima and Mahalakshmi and all my recorded batch students, what you should understand. In last question, it was given to you that what is the ITC which is ineligible as per 17(5). What is ITC used for entirely taxable supply? What is the ITC of goods in personal use? Isn't it? But here you are going to find it out. Given the above facts, you are required to compute the following. What will you compute? ITC credited to e-credit ledger. Second, common credit. Third, ITC attributable towards exempt supplies out of common credit. Are you able to relate to what we want to find out? ITC which is credited to e-credit ledger, then common credit, then the ITC which is attributable towards exempt supplies, then eligible ITC out of common credit, and eventually we have to find out net GST payable from e-cash ledger. That is, we have to do output tax minus input tax credit and get net GST payable. Will we be able to do this? Of course, we have to do this. Clear all of you? What is the question asked? And some other information is given. All inward supplies are procured from registered suppliers. Wherever applicable, amounts are exclusive of taxes. Subject to information given above, assume that all other conditions necessary for availing ITC have been fulfilled. And one point, GTA has not exercised the option to pay tax itself. Means friends, goods transport agency, that is supplier who is giving us service, that GTA will not pay GST. So in short, the recipient of supply, that is we have to pay GST on the goods transport agency services on reverse charge mechanism basis. Wonderful, Mahalakshmi. And tax is payable on such services at 5%. And rate of GST in all other cases is 18%. Ignore CGST, SGST, IGST for sake of simplicity. So just consider 18%. All of you ready, friends? So do one thing. Shall we start? Are you ready for it? What is the first point asked to you? First point asked to you is, okay, first we'll do on the calci each thing and then you present it. ITC credited to E credit ledger. How much ITC is credited to E credit ledger? Okay. So can I calculate total ITC involved? Just focus. Just focus. Your purchases are of 55 lakhs. Did you get it? This taxable items purchased. Purchase cost is given, I told you. It is of 55 lakhs. Can you take on your calci 55 lakh into 18%? What is 55 lakh into 18%? So, GST paid on taxable items 9 lakh 90,000. Did you get it? Next, items which are exempted wide notification. See this. So on this exempted items means which you have bought them. While buying them, there is no GST on them. So 0 will be ITC. If you have not paid only any GST on them while purchasing, then it will be nil and nil. Do you all agree with me on this? Going ahead, on the GTA here, on this 1 lakh, you have to pay GST at 5%. You have to pay on RCM basis. But when you pay on RCM basis, anyways, it is your GST on inward supplies. So you should get ITC. So on 1 lakh, please calculate at 5%. Check. Did you get it? On 1 lakh at 5%. This is for inward transportation of taxable items. And then on inward transportation of exempted items, you will pay the GST. Okay, so it was on 80,000, you will pay at 5%, and here on 20,000, you will pay at 5%. So please pay that. Check on 80,000 at 5%, on 20,000 at 5%. Did you get the figures? All of you with me till this point? Monthly rent paid was 5,50,000. On 5,50,000, calculate at 18%. What is 5,50,000 into 18%? 99,000. Yes. Then GST on packing charges. On packing charges is 2,50,000 into 18%. So not disturbing anything now. I'm just calculating total ITC involved. Like we had in the last sum, 1,80,000. Do you remember that? Similar to that, I am calculating total ITC involved. Friends, are you getting it? No reply from any one of you till now. Salary paid to staff at store, you know, there is no GST on this because it is an supply which is not taxable. Then GST paid on inputs for personal use, directly GST paid was given, that is 5,000. check. Then GST paid on that block credit 4,000, that also you will take, and GST paid on items given as free samples. So 5,000, 4,000, 4,000, you will just take it, and you will get total ITC involved during the month, that is T. Check. Did you get T? That is computation of. Oh, great, great. You went in depth with me while I was solving. Well done. Yes, sir. Calculating with you. Well done. 11,57,000. Well done. Now friends, compute T1, T2, T3. You know what is T1? T1 is personal. What it is for personal? Means non-business. So pick out non-business from this. From all these ITCs, pick out non-business. Non-business is this 5,000, and so this is eligible. This is T1, means eligible for T1 I am saying. And secondly, out of the rent of 99,000 GST, you know 1/3 is for personal. So 99,000 into 1/3. Did you get it? These 2 points. So you will get input tax exclusively attributable to non-business purpose, that is T1, as 38,000. Now, can I go to T2? If all of you are done, I will go to T2. T2 means inputs attributable, input tax attributable for exam supplies. So can I go surely to T2? So what is there in T2 now? First tell me, can I go to T2? See, this is for transportation of exempted items. So this will qualify for T2. But I have not got clearance from both of you yet. See, I depend a lot on your replies. Huh? Friends, waiting for your reply. Then yes sir, done. Wonderful. GST under RCM on freight paid for these non-taxable items. This is also T2. Yes. So two things you have found in T2, isn't it? So check. Is the total of your T2 5,000? Yes, those two items. And T3 is blocked credits. Now find out blocked credits. What is there in the blocked credits? In the blocked credits, you have got this and this, isn't it? You have told me that ITC will be blocked on these two. So you have got 8,000 in T3. Is it clear to you? One of the point was overlapping in T2 and T3. That overlapping point was, which point? Overlapping point was this. In fact, in T1 and T3, one point was overlapping, that is GST paid on inputs used for personal purpose. This could have been disallowed, as per clause G also, 17.5G. So anyways, it will not make difference whether you take it in T1 or T3, because anyways, all these figures you are going to minus from T. So now you take total of T1, T2 and T3. 38,000 plus 5,000 plus 8,000. So what is 38,000 plus 5,000 plus 8,000? Are you getting 51,000? Subtract that 51,000 from 11 lakh 57,000. 11 lakh 57,000 was total credit. From that total credit, you minus T1, T2, T3, you will get 11 lakh 57,000 minus 51,000, 11 lakh 6,000. So 11 lakh 6,000 is answer of your first question. First question, which was ITC to be credited to e-credit. Did you all get 11 lakh 6,000? Shall we go ahead and find out now common credit? Yes, no. So I know common credit is the one which is used for packing here. Okay. So what you will do now to find out common credit? So GST paid on all taxable items is 990. Okay, that is one which is common credit. And GST paid under RCM on freight paid for import of taxable items. That is 5,000. So basically exclusively used for taxable supplies is 995. See, if you see this, you will find that GST paid on taxable items 990. This is exclusively for taxable items. Secondly, GST paid for taxable items 5,000. So this 990 plus 5, 995 is for exclusively taxable items, isn't it? Yes, sir. 995 is exclusively for taxable items. Now common credit will be 11 lakh 6,000. That is your, ITC credited to e-credit ledger minus 995. So rest of 1 lakh 11,000 is common credit. Do you agree with me? Yes, no? Any doubt till this point? Please ask me if you have any doubt at all. When you say D in the chat window, we will go ahead. Now you want ITC attributable towards exempt supplies out of the common credit. Most simple, because we have already done all the working possible. Your exempt supply, as you can see, is 15 lakh and your total supply is 65 lakhs. So whatever is your common credit, 1 lakh 11,000, that 1 lakh 11,000 is for 65 lakhs. So how much for 15 lakhs? Are you getting it? So calculate your common credit. Check. 1 lakh 11,000 divided by 65 multiplied by 15. Are you getting 25,615? Say, see in the chat window as you get it. 25,615. Now, can I go ahead? Yes. What is eligible ITC out of common credit? So friends, how will you get eligible ITC out of common credit? If you minus from 1,11,000 25,615, you will get eligible ITC out of common credit. Mind you, in this case there is no inputs used commonly for taxable and personal. Okay, so it is 85,385. 1,11,000 minus 25,615. So do you agree with me now that, say D in the chat window once you get D point also. Do you all agree with me that we will have to find out now net GST payable? For net GST payable, you want output tax and ITC. Yes. Now 85,385 is eligible ITC out of common credit. And do you remember that 995? Friends, which 995? The one which is exclusively for taxable supply. So can you take total of 9,95,000, which will be anyways allowed, plus 85,385. So can I say 10,80,385 will be eligible ITC? Can I say that 10,80,385 will be eligible ITC? Yes or no? Yes, no? May I go for output tax now? Say X in the chat window when you get 10,80,385. Now I will go for output tax. Output tax will be on the taxable supply of 50 lakhs. 50 lakhs into 18%. Isn't it 9 lakh? 50 lakh into 18%. Isn't it 9 lakh? Because 50 lakh was your outward supply, which is taxable. So 9 lakh. From 9 lakh, subtract ITC credited. So ITC to be carried forward to next month is 1,80,385. Are you getting it? So net GST payable eventually is nil. It is nil on outward supplies. It is nil with respect to outward supplies. Yes or no? But one thing you have to remember, friends. What one thing you have to remember? Whatever GST is payable on reverse charge basis has to be compulsorily paid in cash. Is the point clear to you? So there is GST payable on RCM, which is to be compulsorily paid in cash, that is with respect to GTA. So whatever GST liability is there on RCM, we have to pay in cash. That comes to rupees 10,000. Just check for GTA all the three supplies. So net GST liability to be paid in cash will be 10,000 rupees. But of course you can carry forward the ITC of 1,80,385. Did you understand? all of you, 100%. Tell me with one smiley in the chat window if you have understood each and every point, because this was one of the wonderful question that we did in the batch till now, which had mix of many concepts. Yes, absolutely, Mahalakshmi. Very nice question, comprising of all adjustments. So friends, now may I request that you do the presentation part of this as homework, as a compulsory homework. No option, as a compulsory homework. Can you do this so that if any item here and there you have missed out, or there is even a hesitation of understanding, you will get it. So if you promise me that you will do this as compulsory homework, then we can wind up for today. Yes, sure, of course, you are saying we'll do it as homework. Wonderful. So friends, I hope you enjoyed this session. You can expect a lot of such questions in the upcoming sessions. So thank you so much for being such wonderful students. I will see you in the next session. Before going to that, I would like to tell you that if this session is streamed on YouTube, and if you are new on the YouTube, then subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and for any online classes you can contact on the number given here. So one stop number for admissions as well as all doubts. So thank you so much. See you, and do share it with all your friends who might need exposure in the practical questions. Bye bye. Take care.